Now, taking a look at education in Gauteng, a committee from the Provincial Legislature is today conducting oversight visits at schools in Soweto. Their focus is on assessing whether regulations for the fair admission of learners are being properly implemented. This critical scrutiny comes in the wake of the Gauteng Education Department's recent announcement of a drastic 60% cut in state subsidies to over 600 former Model C schools, a move that has sparked outcry and threats of legal action. We're now joined by Chair of the Oversight Committee, Honourable Matshidiso Mfikoe. Honourable Mfikoe, thanks so much for coming onto the show. And I want to start the conversation on that 60% cut. How is it justified and is it actually going to work?
Look, we maybe thank the opportunity to come and to greetings to your viewers. We are equally concerned about any subsidy being cut, given the need to continue offering education services to our communities. Through the Education Portfolio Committee, we hope that the MEC and the team will explain what was the reasoning behind the cuts. We are not responsible for oversight over the committee, but we are doing scrutiny on our regulations that we have promulgated, and we expect the department and any other departments that we have made regulations for to implement.
Well, you're not only on the Gauteng Standing Committee, but you also would be a concerned citizen, right?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
60% is a massive cut. Are you aware of any consultations that have taken place to look at the impact of these massive cuts?
Not with our committee, but I would imagine that they would have done that with the Portfolio Committee for Education, that we are not a member of. We are a separate committee. There's two types of committees in the legislature, a Portfolio Committee and a Standing Committee.
Now, your committee is conducting post-legislative oversight. What does that actually mean in practice, and what problems at school admissions are you looking to uncover or confirm in Soweto? We
are a standing committee that has developed and taken to the legislature the regulations on the public schools admissions. Just to elaborate a bit, we've also done a number of regulations for the Transport Department, for the Health Department, including other regulations for safe trips when our learners are taking. So we have developed these ones. They were adopted in 2019. And we felt that with the challenges that communities are having, especially with the online system, let us go and see if schools are implementing these regulations. They are supposed to assist us in making sure that there is fair, equitable access to education, that the schools have admission policies, which is something that we found that most of our schools don't have the admission policies, and we did encourage the SGBs to formulate those admission policies in line with, of course, the Schools Act, the Bella Act, including the regulations that are approved by the legislature.
So in the absence of admission policies, how are they conducting their admissions? I mean, what are the loopholes, right? Because it's one thing to say adhere to these admission policies. What is the prescribed admission policy that you're advocating?
That there should be equality in the community must have access firstly to their schools. There must be equality in the admissions. We must avoid discrimination also when learners are admitted or are making the applications, including the fact that the SGP have a big role to play, not just in monitoring schools, but in actual that very development of that admissions policy, which is something that is not necessarily there on the schools that we've been. Also a need, I mean, we went to Lufenze, which is a purely girls' school, that our society is not necessarily educated on what Lufenze stands for as a girls' school. Part of the problems that we encounter there is that parents of children who are LGBTIQAs are bringing their kids to the school, and the school does not know what to do with those learners. We've committed that we have a colloquium with the department into how do you support the school into dealing with the sector. So those are some of the challenges that we experienced.
But Honourable Mfikoe, when you talk about what do you do with learners that are queer, right? It almost suggests a discrimination of sorts.
That is what the regulation seeks to avoid.
The assumption is that any learner will be treated equally. As you said, I mean, you've talked about equitable enrollment, and I assume that one of the things that you're also talking about is that they're all treated fairly.
Yes.
So why the conversation?
Because the school does not know what to do. Some of them come and they're presenting gay, they are gay, and the schools do not have toilets to accommodate them. It's a girls' school, so the toilet should be accommodating girls only. So that is where infrastructure issues need to be attended to also, to accommodate those learners.
Have you had a reaction at all from the parents, or how likely that a conversation with the school in particular is likely to be had? Because I'd imagine that it's been going on for some time, and if it's causing a measure of discomfort or discrimination, you'd want to avoid it being protracted.
We would want to engage with the parents as well. Remember, the oversight was done on Thursday that we're coming from, and it was actually picked up or escalated by the SGB itself, which is a parent part in the school. And we did commit to them that we will submit the report to the department, putting this as one of the challenges that we need to engage. It is an important engagement that we need to have, because society needs to understand that we do have the sector existing and living amongst us. So we need to make sure that in all our facilities, just like the disabled community, they need to be accommodated as well.
Salome, what does a successful outcome from this oversight look like for you?
Ensuring that schools have firstly admission policies and adhering to that admission policy. It doesn't have that to develop a policy and we don't implement it. And we still have complaints about discrimination, lack of access. Because the policy, the regulation says there should not be lack of access and there should not be discrimination in our schools. So we went on Thursday. We'll go back in January, Feb, after the schools open, so that we make sure that whatever issues that we have identified are indeed implemented and infused in the existing school policies.
And do you have a total number of schools that you're expecting to visit?
We're still going to do Ekurhuleni and Tshwane. My team did do Orange Farm and part of Sidibeng. I was not around. I was out of the country with work. So then I joined the Soweto one with doing Tshwane, so that you have a fair representation of Gauteng views, you know, in all our regions. So that when you put in a report, it's a report that is very broad, not just specific to Soweto and Orange Farm, because we are supposed to be representing the whole of Gauteng, not just a few of our regions.
Honourable Mfikoe, thank you so much for coming onto the show. We certainly want to have this chat again with you in a few months, just to get some insights into what you've uncovered.
Definitely, we'll come back when we are called. We represent people. So you guys are immediately assisting us to communicate with society out there, and we appreciate the opportunity.
And that call will be coming. Honourable Matshidiso Mfikoe, Chair of the Gauteng Standing Committee on Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation.